Hello September, this month went by too quick as usual, but I did a lot, that's why it went by so quickly. Time moves fast when you're having fun, is what they say, right? Something like that? Time moves fast when you're having fun? Yeah. Time flies when you're having fun. Man, I'm forgetting English already. Taking Japanese classes now, forgetting how to speak English already. Not good. So first, what I did this month, recorded a podcast last night, which I'm right now editing to get up in time for this, hopefully, but you know how that goes. Should go up on time, but that is barring technical problems, as you know. Had technical problems with the podcast that we put up last month. That one is now available. It went up originally perfectly fine, and then it went down. I guess the server went down, Andrew's server went down, and he got it back up, and then it went back down, and he just got it back up. So if you weren't able to download it before, it's up now, and it's in the links below, as will be the new podcast, assuming that one goes up on time without technical problems. Thank goodness I have Andrew, because seriously, I couldn't do it without him. I have no technical, you guys know how I am. Done. So the podcast we recorded last night was in honor of Nintendo's 125th year anniversary. It's crazy that they've been around that long. Obviously haven't been putting out video games that whole time or anything, but we just thought we'd look at Nintendo company from then to now and kind of do like a history thing and talk about our personal experiences and the stuff that you know we do on the podcast. Goof off, basically, and talk about video games here and there. So that podcast went really long. We recorded for like 3 hours. I'm hoping it doesn't end up being that long, but it might be about 3 hours when everything's said and done. But check that out. We weren't able to do a stream this month because the podcast went so long, and Andrew's been working really hard this week, like extra hours. He was working while we were recording the podcast and he was just done. And we were both tired, so it was not a good time to do a stream anyway. Last time we did one last month, it was like a half hour and we're like, sleep. So we'll try and do another stream next month. Hopefully, you know, between now and then, I might just do a stream on my own. I don't know, we'll see. If you're interested, comments. Spent most of this month working on the Video Game Years 1989, which I just got up earlier this week. So I'm done with the 80s. 80s are done. The Video Game Years 1985 up to part 5 is now up, and that's also in the links below. Check it out. These are like some of the best years of the video game years. I mean, you know, 85, 87, my personal favorite probably. 89 is really good too. I mean, they're all good, but yeah, there's stuff to see in each year that's awesome. But 85 was like, man, Nintendo, and yeah, it's awesome. I'm sure nobody expected this to happen, but I really wanted to get a video up this month. Guess what didn't happen? I didn't get a video up this month. I've shifted my hopes of getting a video up this month and next month. Probably would have been a mediocre one this month and maybe a mediocre one next month. I'd rather focus and try to put out the best video that I can with the time allowed. So that's gonna be my Halloween video. Don't wanna hype it too much or anything like that because it's just a Halloween video of something that I'll talk about next month. As I mentioned last month, I'm in the Angry Video Game Nerd movie. I finally got to see it. You know, it came out, you can buy it digitally now. And actually, coming up here, I think at the end of this month, probably when this goes up, I think they were gonna announce the physical copies, Blu-ray, DVD, that kind of thing. I definitely wanna have a copy of that too. I had to get the digital release right away because I just wanted to see what I was in, you know. Turns out I'm in a very small clip, but it's just an honor to be in it at all, you know. I had a couple lines, but it was, not everything was used, of course, because it's a movie and, you know, stuff just ends up on the cutting room floor. But I was honored to be in there at all, and actually what was really cool about it is it was me and a couple other guys from Retroware. I was lucky enough to be on there with Travis and Greg of On Being Human, and Justin was on there as well. And I remember when he was doing it, we were all cracking up, and that was what they ended up using for the footage. And I can't quite make out all that's being said because, like I said, it is a couple seconds, but I just remember, you know, it was supposed to be that we were watching the Angry Video Game Nerd do one of his reviews, and Justin said a line, he said something to the effect of like, it splinters my balls or something like that, and we all just started cracking up, and that's what made it into the final movie. So my line is laughing, but you know, you can hear Justin's line in there, and then everyone just laughing. So it was really awesome, and it's one of those things that I've got forever, like, in a movie. It's freaking sweet. So anyway, check it out. It's a great movie. It's hilarious. You've probably already seen it, but if you haven't, check it out. There's several other people from Retroware on there. You know, John and Lance and Danny from Pixels to Plastic is on there. Norm, the gaming historian. Michael Anthony from Still Loading. Jeremy Pierce, the gaming futurist. I think that's everybody. Sorry if I missed anybody, but you know, people from Retroware are on there for those brief little cuts, and it's really cool that we got it in there. So thank you for having us in your movie. I know you watched this, so thank you. Still working on my album, you know, trying to cut tracks because I've got too many tracks and I want it to be a better album than my last one, which was basically some stuff I did when I was younger, and I don't know how to lay out anything, and just here's everything I've done. And it was 80 minutes, so I could fit it perfectly in a CD. That's not how you make an album. I just thought, oh, well, you know, might as well use the whole space on it. Why wouldn't you? Well, it's because that's not how you make an album, for one thing. So I'm gonna try and make a more cohesive album like I talked about before. I'm probably gonna be running it by some people just to see, you know, is this too many tracks, enough tracks, put them in order, is it good, stuff like that. Maybe next month. So other exciting stuff that happened to me, I mean, you know, last month that was awesome with Angry Video Game Nerd Movie, got to talk about that, and really cool thing happened this month, didn't expect to happen. I put in for this lottery to be able to go listen to Aphex Twin's new album, Syro, that was going to be at several listening parties. Most of them were in Europe, and then there were a couple in America. There was one in New York and one in LA, and I think that was it. There might have been one in Chicago, but those were the main ones. And I just put my name in. I was like, let's just see what happens. I'll go to LA if I get picked. You know, I know some people there, you know, we'll see what happens. And it turns out I got picked. Now, I thought at first, well, maybe everybody got picked and, you know, they'll just let the first few people in or something, but it was a limited thing. And I actually I know several people in California, and none of them got tickets. So I was just that lucky that I got picked. And I was like, man, you know, now that I got picked, that's really awesome, but I was afraid ahead of time. What if I get picked? I got to spend all that money that I don't have because I'm broke as a joke right now, and go to LA just on the spur of the moment. So that's exactly what happened. I found out, and then later that day, I was booking my flight. I had to book it up until like 1 a.m. the next day. I was just like late night searching, oh man, what do I do? So I just packed my bags and went to LA the next day. It was like quick, you know, I mean, it was not a +1 event. I was the only one that was able to go with that ticket, which kind of sucked because I would have liked to brought some friends from California with me. Couldn't do that. So I was lucky enough to get picked, but I had to go solo. But it was cool because I still got to hang out with Johnny Ketchum, who, by the way, was at the concert last month. I didn't mention that before. Got to meet his girlfriend Marissa and got to hang out with them again in LA, so that was really sweet. It was funny because they had just moved like 2 weeks prior, and then I just, hey, I'm out to see you, creepy, no. But I just, you know, he knew that I was there for the show. He was like, oh, we should hang out at some point, so that's what we did. Got to see LA again. This is like my 3rd or 4th time there. I'm a fan of the city. I think it's a really cool city, and got to sightsee alone this time, which, you know, it's a little lonely, but it was still a lot of fun. I got a lot of great pictures, peep them out. So as I mentioned, I was booking my hotel up until like 1 a.m. that night / next day that I was flying, and I just didn't know what I was doing. I knew that I needed to be in Glendale, so I was thinking, oh, put a hotel in Glendale, but what's there to do there? I don't know anything about it. So I wanted to stay in downtown LA because it's near Little Tokyo, which I'm familiar with, and I know it's fun. I could spend some time down there. And then maybe I'll just catch a taxi, and I thought that might be expensive, so I'm trying to figure out all this stuff out. Find a place called Stay on Main, and it sounded cool, and it was inexpensive, and it was right where I wanted it to be. It's like everything I needed. You know, I needed to take the cheapest flight, which had a leg over back to Colorado. Had to stop in Arizona inexplicably, but it was cheap, so you just get what you get. And the hotel, and I was like, actually, hotel looks pretty good. And you know, I told my mom, and she was looking at it, and she's like, that sounds really nice. You know, it's marketed as this like hip hotel, you know, where a lot of people my age would go, you know, and international travelers and stuff like that. And it looks really nice in the picture. I was like, okay, that'll be really cool. So I get there, and I didn't know this, but it's a hotel / hostel. The reason it was so cheap, this is a very cheap trip, it was a hostel. So I stayed in a 10-foot by 10-foot room, no bathroom. You know what a hostel is probably, but I didn't. I just walked in, I was like, what is this? Like the janitor's room? It was not a lot of room. But you know what? That's what a hostel is. I'm not gonna badmouth them because I got what I paid for, I'll tell you that. And I was like, okay, so where's the bathroom? It's down the hall in a closet where they have the bathroom. And then there's another closet next to it. That's where the shower is. And there's only enough room for the door to swing open and then the shower. So you put your clothes where the door swings open, and hopefully they don't get too wet. So yeah, there's some pictures of the place. So I met up with Johnny Ketchum the first night, and we were just gonna go out and get some tacos. When he came to pick me up, he's like, oh, I know this place. This is the Cecil. It's like, the Cecil? He's like, yeah, well, they call it Stay on Main now, but it was the Cecil. I was like, oh, okay. He's like, yeah, it's kind of shady. I was like, really? Yeah, it's a bit shady. It's got a history of housing serial killers, and mysterious deaths and stuff happened there. It's like, oh, interesting, great, glad I know that before the first night I stay there. So, I mean, you know, whatever, I don't blame him for telling me because it's actually really interesting. I was just like, oh, I probably wouldn't have booked that if I had known, and, you know, might have been nice to know afterwards kind of thing. But, you know, in any case, there's some crazy history about it. This is pretty gross, so maybe fast forward 10 seconds if you don't want to hear this. There was a low water pressure problem, and they were trying to figure out what it was. the water tasted funny and it wasn't coming through. Turns out there was someone dead in the water supply. Deteriorating in the water supply is pretty awful. Yeah, that was way before I stayed there, but not good. And the serial killer Richard Ramirez stayed there. Gah. Yeah, scary. Hopefully none of this happened in my room. Scary. Scary. Johnny and Marissa being as awesome as they were, I went out for tacos with them. It was really good. And then they were like, just stay the night at our house. And I was like, sweet, thank you, especially after hearing that. After tacos, we went to a bar that's actually half of it is a liquor store and the other half of it is like a laid back lounge kind of place where you pay for the beer that you picked up on the other side, the store side. You just go over there and they open it for you and you pay for it and you just drink your beer in a cool setting. So we had some beers there and talked for a while, and then they let me stay at their place, so that was really awesome of them. Drank some really interesting beers, really cool beers. Look at this cat one. It's like Saturday cat beer or something like that. Yeah, it's awesome. So the next day I went to the Aphex Twin listening party, and it was at a venue that I saw some people on Twitter being like, why is it there? Really small venue, totally out of the way somewhere in Glendale, place called Complex. And I got there and I was like walking around the corner, or just walking down the street, I'm expecting to see this massive line and there's nobody there. So I go up to the door, I open it, and I know I probably shouldn't be going in, but I was like, the door's open, so I walked in. They're like, can I help you? I was like, yeah, here for the Aphex Twin listening party. And they're like, yeah, that's not for a while. I was like, do you want me to go outside? Yeah, go outside. All right, okay. So I'm just out there sitting there by myself, kind of sad, kind of lonely, but I was there pretty early. I was there like an hour and a half early because I didn't want to miss it. I went all the way from Colorado to LA just for this purpose. I'm not going to be late or miss my chance or be in the back or something like that. I want a primo position because that's why I'm there. So I'm there and a couple people start walking up, people from outside. There's a photographer that was there. He's like, hey man, so where are you from in LA and that kind of stuff. And I was like, flew over from Denver. Huh? He's like, yeah, I flew over from Colorado. He's like, are you kidding me? So he's like, I gotta take your picture. And he gave me a shout out online and stuff and took my picture for professional photographers. So that was pretty awesome. Thanks for doing that. If you're watching this, which you're not. In any case, got to meet some cool people. So after that, guy named Pablo walked up and he was really cool. He was wearing a Cave shirt, which if you guys know the company Cave, they do really awesome shooters, like arcade shooters, cool stuff. So I was just happened to say, oh, is that what that is? He's like, yeah, just kind of surprised that I knew who it was. But I was introduced to Cave by Ito Bandito earlier this year when I went to his house because he had some of those shooters. So anyway, it's actually the next person in line was a guy named Justin, and got to chat with him for a while. And him and Pablo were both super blown away that I came out there. And then the next guy in line, I don't remember his name unfortunately, but he was from San Francisco, which is also really far to go from San Francisco to LA. I didn't realize it was so far. But in any case, we were all just geeking out, talking about Aphex Twin and that kind of stuff, different musicians and that record label and that kind of stuff. So we're all just waiting with anticipation, and then we get in there and it's a really small venue, but it was very cool, intimate little thing. And they had awesome beer, so we had some beers and we're just trading off, and everyone's instant friends basically because we're drawn together by Aphex Twin and we're fanatics, obviously. That's why we're there. Obviously I'm super fanatic because I'm there from Colorado, so which people were blown away by, and of course I had to wear this shirt. So anyway, turns out the reason they had it at this venue, even though it was small and kind of out of the way, is because they had some kind of I can't remember, it's the brand of it is liquid something stereo sound. Someone correct me, I have no idea what I'm talking about, but it's some state-of-the-art awesome sound. So that's why they had it there. When they played, I was so freaking excited. I was shaking, I could barely stand it because I'm super fanatic about it. And they're playing his new album, which we've never heard, so it was so awesome to get to hear that in that venue. It sounded great. I've never heard anything sound that good in a live setting. He wasn't there. Aphex Twin wasn't there. They just played the new album. But in any case, it was loud, but it never once distorted or clipped or anything. It sounded perfect. It was awesome. Sometimes when you hear live music, just the high, it hisses at you and stuff, and never. It sounded perfect. It was so good. In fact, hearing the album like that, I'm spoiled because I've heard the album now and it's great, but sounds that I heard live sound completely different now, because at one point I swear that I heard with this track, it's the 8th track, there's this sound, this pitch bending sound that actually when I first heard it, I thought it was someone nearby because people were being like, woo, and of course because everyone's excited, and it sounded like someone went, woo, and it went perfect with the music. I was like, the heck? And then it happened again. I was like, oh, that's part of the song. If you stood in the center of the dance floor, that was like the perfect place to be. We got a tip from the people at the bar. They're like, stand in the center. And it was like, oh my God, the sound was so awesome compared to standing off at the side and that kind of thing. So it was a once in a lifetime experience to get picked for this. And I don't regret going at all. I'm really glad I went. It was very expensive and I don't have any money right now. Now I even have less than no money. So I'm in debt basically to go to this, but it was worth it. I wouldn't change it for anything. We were only supposed to be around for one listening. You know, there was a 4 o'clock listening, which is the one that we got to. There was one at 6, so we were supposed to get the hell out. At that point, me and the other guys I mentioned before were just chatting and stuff and talking about the album, oh, so cool or whatever. And the guys that were in the bar were just like, you want to hear it again? We're like, yeah, we want to hear it again. So we stuck around, you know, got some more beers, and, you know, hearing it for the second time, knowing what we were in for, we got to enjoy it even more. And it was just like, it was, I can't explain it. It was an awesome experience at the end. So afterwards, me and the other 3 people I mentioned, plus the photographer, all went to a Chinese place, and we were still geeking out about Aphex Twin and all this stuff, and talking about, oh, I wonder if he's gonna tour with the new album and that kind of stuff. Be cool if he came out here. And the problem was, it was getting a little rowdy, but luckily there were like angels. The servers were like angels. They just put up with us. Here's some of that. Why would they put up with us? I mean, I don't know. They were just nice. They were just really nice. I tipped them well, but I should have tipped them even more in retrospect, because you don't realize how dumb you're being sometimes until afterwards. Like, man, I was probably being really dumb. Yeah, I was. We're all chatting, you know, new friends, getting to talk about stuff. Like, because not all of us have friends that are into the same kind of stuff. So we were all like super feeding off each other, like, oh yeah, this, oh that, whatever. And so at the end of the night, I was like, okay, I gotta catch my bus back. Unfortunately, I don't know the bus system, and it was like 11:30. I'm walking out, it's pitch black, I'm by myself, there's no one around. It was like a ghost town in Glendale. It was really creepy. It was super creepy, and I'm like 32. I was creeped out, like walking like, oh God, what's happening? So I was trying to find my bus, and I'm using my phone, and it kept saying, oh, your route is over here. Okay, so I gotta get there. Oh man, 8 minutes it takes off, and it takes like 15 minutes to get there. Hustle over there, and then I missed it. So then I checked out where's the next one, and it was like another area. I mean, it didn't make any sense. I must have been doing it wrong. So I followed to the next route, and then I missed that one, and then I missed another one. And so I'm like, okay, this is getting to the point where I'm screwed for buses, and I'll just need to take a cab. But there's no cabs. You know, contrary to what you believe, there were no cabs. I really didn't see any in LA either. So I don't know. What they have there is Uber, which is probably most places in any case. It's just like a private cab company. I don't know, where just people drive them, but they're professional. It's really cool. So I called the first one, and he's like, hey, where are you going? Stay on Main. And then he canceled the ride. So maybe he's afraid of the stay on Main place. But in any case, my phone was like 10% battery. It was like, oh my gosh, get another one. As soon as I pushed send to get the next Uber, it died. My phone just died on me. And I'm like sitting there on a park bench at 11:45 or something like that, just waiting for an Uber to show up or not. Luckily it did, got to my hotel, and that was the end of that night, but that was really scary, even for an adult like me. Am I an adult? I guess I'm an adult. Spent my last day in LA in Little Tokyo, which I had planned to do the whole time, but that was the first day I got down there, and just had a lot of fun by myself. I mean, like I said, it's kind of lonely because, you know, I didn't get to share anything with anybody, but I was just having a good time shopping down there, you checking out stuff. I was like, oh, I got to pick up some souvenirs and that kind of thing, and picked up some food, picked up some drinks, just, you know, normal stuff, touristy stuff. And while I was there, I was remembering a trip that I took in 2012 for E3, and when I went with Rue and Pat, the NES Punk. So we were just hanging out at these certain places, and I was like, I want to track those places down again, you know? Just kind of, I mean, that might be kind of weird, but I was sending them photos like, hey, check it out, I'm at whatever, and they're like, oh yeah, I remember, whatever, when we went to that thing. So here's some of those pictures. It was a really good time. I had a lot of fun. Bought some stuff, I'll show you in a minute here. I went to a ramen shop for lunch, a highly recommended one called Daikokuya, and it was like just a little bit outside of the Little Tokyo like main area, and there was a big line, and I found out why. I mean, the line was huge. You've got to like check yourself in. It was kind of interesting. You write your name on the thing. In any case, we had to pay cash as well. So, you know, everyone had to pay cash. So when I got there, I was like, oh, I hope this place is pretty good. It was really good. I had like a pork belly and egg ramen. It's like a traditional ramen thing, and it was really, really good. Got boba next door, which, you know, I love boba. Rue loves boba. I got him hooked on it, so he was super jealous. I had to send him a picture. I'm drinking boba. It was really good. So just revisiting the places that we went in 2012, which is kind of weird to me, but you know. I ended up going to a mall where there is, well, was unfortunately Japan Arcade, which we went to in 2012, and it was an awesome Japanese arcade. Had all these crazy games, you know, had Typing of the Dead, had the arm wrestling game, there's like a punching game, just like vertical shooters and awesome Japanese games. Well, I went there with the intent of checking it out because I found out a couple years after going there originally that Audino of Game Center CX went there. I was like, oh, that's cool. I'll take pictures and stuff. It's kind of like a museum sort of thing, you know? And it's closed. Sadly, it closed its doors, I guess last year or something like that, or maybe earlier this year, but I was really sad to see that. But there were other places and I didn't really get to go to any cool arcades, but that's how it goes. Among the places I went to wandering around, there was a place called Jungle. Hold on. Entertainment Hobby Shop Jungle. And you can tell it's busy. There's a whole bunch of stuff there. So if you like anime and manga and figurines and all kinds of stuff, they got that stuff there if you want to check it out. There was 2 stores, one across the doorway which had like costumes in it and stuff, which I'm not into, but you know, they have them. So like I said, I bought some souvenirs. Some of it was for me, some of it was for my girlfriend, and I actually got something else for somebody you'll see in a sec. I bought this cell phone charm for Beyaun, producer Snafu. He really wanted to go to the Aphex Twin listening party. He was one of my friends in California that tried to go. You'll see it's Mega Man 10, but I'll talk about that in a second. In any case, he wanted to go really bad, but he wasn't able to because he didn't get a ticket, and I would have brought him with me, but you can't do a +1. I would have brought him, and I would have brought Johnny, and I would have brought Ian from, you know, Pat and Ian. You know who I'm talking about in any case. I really wanted to have all them, but it was just me. I wish he could have gone. He probably should have gone in my place, honestly, but that's not how it works. It's connected to your email address. As I mentioned last month, he released an album, and one of the tracks is called Mega Man 2 Jump Sprite, and there's Mega Man jumping. It's not Mega Man 2. They say it's Mega Man 10, but Mega Man 2, Mega Man 10, it's the same sprite. So anyway, in honor of that track, and I figured you'd dig it, so here you go. Do you have any cell phone charm hanging capabilities? Put it on your keys or something, I don't know. So I'll be sending that to you now. I wanted to put it in the video, and I'll be sending it, yeah, shortly. You'll get it soon, sorry. So anyway, I've got some more stuff to show you in a minute, but the rest of the day I just chilled out in downtown LA. I really like some of the architecture, took some pictures. I went to a Japanese bookshop. I really hung around Little Tokyo because that's kind of my place. I really just love it there. I could spend more hours than I did. It's tons of cool stuff. If you ever go to LA, if you live there, you should go there because it's a lot of fun. Go to Daikokuya for the ramen shop for lunch. Daikokuya. It's delicious. Rolls right off the tongue. Daikokuya. Taking Japanese classes again anyway. So did touristy stuff and that kind of thing. Caught a cold. Started feeling crappy once I got on the plane to come home. And while I was hanging out and I was eating lunch or breakfast lunch with Johnny, and some lady was like looking at me and she just like, just started coughing. She didn't even cover her mouth. I was like, kind of gave her a look and looked back to Johnny, and he's like, yeah, people in LA tend not to cover their mouths when they cough or sneeze. I was like, what? He's like, it tends to be the case. And I was like, you know, based on what I'd seen, that kind of seems true. What the heck? Germs are everywhere. Everywhere should be the same. Just cover your damn mouth. So I got sick. I'm gonna blame it on her, but it could have been anything, you know. I was touching all kinds of crap on the bus and whatever. It could have been anything, but just cover your mouth, lady, or anybody. Just cover it. Damn. I should have covered it just now. I shouldn't have. I'm sorry. Don't get sick. Oh, virus on your computer. I don't know. I'm being dumb. So that cold is with me today. I don't know if you can hear it, but I have it. I still have a cold. Thanks a lot, lady. Besides that, I had a really great time. Loved LA. Aphex Twin's new album is friggin' amazing. If you haven't heard it, check it out. It's a great return. I hope he brings out more stuff soon. Don't go download it illegally. Pay for it. You know, he may or may not care, but really just buy it because support him. Get more of his stuff out there. He's got like 5 on the back burner, 5 albums ready to go, and way more unreleased music. Even though I was sick, the week upon my return, I went to the 1UP on Colfax again because there were some musicians I wanted to see. Bam!
Got them holes in the kitchen. Got them holes in the kitchen.
So I saw Dailon, who's from, I think that's how you say it, I can only imagine. I mean, assuming it's a referencing, you know, Dailon the rapper, you know, Dailon, whatever. In any case, he's from San Francisco. His set was awesome. Peep it. Even though the headliner was Sweater Beats, I went there to see Lindsay Lowend. Lindsay Lowend is freaking awesome. I mean, the guy, I've never seen anyone play music and look that happy. Anybody, ever. And I've seen some amazing shows, but you know, the show was what the show was, but just he was having so much fun, like smiling the whole time. He would like walk around the decks and stuff and just like high five people and just smiles the whole time. He looks like a young Beastie Boy, I don't know, but he was really cool. His music was awesome. He only played a little bit of his stuff that I was familiar with. I guess he hasn't released that many tracks, but it's really cool. It's like video game influence kind of stuff, and it sounds sort of like, I guess we talked about Rusty and stuff like that. It's kind of in that vein. I don't even know what you call it, to be honest. I've heard several things, but in any case, he also played some Wave Racer. And that was awesome because you know I love Wave Racer, talked about that months ago, but it was great. Sweater Beats also played a great set, a little bit more low key, you know, it's slow, kind of like R&B. Sounds like Trippy Turtle, which I believe I talked about the same night that Wave Racer played. Is very cool. He also played Wave Racer. Can't get enough Wave Racer, it's so good. But I don't blame him because it's awesome. He also played a Rusty track, which was very cool. So it was a great night. My girlfriend went with me. She was nice enough to go with me, and she's sick now. I hope I didn't give her that, but anyway. Thank you for going. I'm sorry you're sick. Since I left to LA, I haven't been working out or nothing, but I did start taking Japanese classes again. So I went to Japanese class to see where I fit in my intermediate and my advanced, and my Japanese teacher remembered me from 10 years ago, and she's like, maybe you could stick around for the advanced class, just wait and see. And I was in the intermediate class, I was like, I don't need to stick around for the advanced class because some of this is going over my head. It was very sobering. It's like, let me go to the beginner class, and I'm a little bit above beginner, but I'm not quite proficient enough to be in the intermediate class. So what I'm doing is I'm gonna ramp up. October 18th, I'm gonna start intermediate classes. I'm doing self-study right now. So if you guys have any pointers or words of advice or anything, resources, it'd be great if there was like a cool, fun, easy way to learn Japanese. I'm doing several things right now. I've downloaded some apps. I saw about some kind of like Japanese RPG where you can learn Japanese from it. That's been funded on Kickstarter. I don't think that's around yet. I think it's called Koei or something like that. But in any case, I've been watching Japanese TV. I've been looking on the internet for resources, and I've downloaded several things. But if you have any advice, please, I'm all ears. Teach me, please. I need to learn. I'd like to go to Japan next year is the goal. As far as what I've been playing, still playing Elite Beat Agents like I was last month. Gotten through it 2 times. I'm on the 3rd time with the 3rd character, and I'm on the 2nd to last level. It's very hard. It'll take me a little while to beat it, but I've been playing that. And I also just picked up recently Dragon Warrior. Yes, old school Dragon Warrior on the NES. It is old school Japanese RPG, super grind heavy. I'm making very little progress, but I'm having a lot of fun doing it. It's like really therapeutic just sitting there and just grinding like the same monotonous thing over and over, but I don't get sick of it. It's a lot of fun. You know, when I was a kid, I couldn't tolerate that kind of stuff. In my older age, now that I'm 32, I can definitely be down with that because it's just slow paced and you're just like, oh man, just relax and just play this game. It's fun. Normally this would be where I do my stuff I bought this month, but guess what? Like I said, broke is a joke. I really got to watch my spending, so I didn't buy any games. I'm sorry, but here's what I picked up in LA. As I mentioned, got the Mega Man 10, aka Mega Man 2 Jump Sprite for Beyaun. While I was at Jungle, I picked up this little Famicom, I don't know, tin? It's like a Famicom cartridge, and it's the Super Mario Brothers cartridge. At the bottom of it, it has this little dangling, you know, crouching Mario sprite, and inside of it, you can put something in it. But what would you put in there? Not much, because it's very small. It's about that big. I don't actually know the purpose of this item, but it would make a really cool keychain. I just don't want it to dent, because like I said, it is hollow in the middle. But it could be a really cool ornament or something like that. It's just cool. I don't care what I do with it. I just want to have it. I got this Mega Man powered up, well, coffee cup. It's gonna power me up. I don't know if I even want to use it, honestly, because I don't want it to leak or anything like that. I don't think this is one of those that I can put in the dishwasher, and I'm pretty lazy about doing stuff by hand. Plus, I don't trust it. I'm a germ freak. I don't think that I could ever get it clean enough, you know? But anyway, really cool little mug, Mega Man powered up, which I love. Awesome. Played it on the PSP. Great. That's for me, as was the Famicom thing. Also for me, speaking of Dragon Quest, I got this little Dragon Quest Sofubi monster. Sofubi monster. Yeah, he's a little slime, as I'm sure you can tell, and he looks like one of those sea thingies, but I don't know. I don't really understand what this says, but it sounds like slime head, but it says Suraimu Tsumuri. That's gonna be head, I think, and I looked it up, but anyway, slime head, I don't know. This is a series of little slime characters, Dragon Quest series, and he's pretty awesome, friggin' awesome. When my girlfriend saw this, she looked at it and said, that doesn't quite look like a turd. That doesn't look like poo. And you know, it's one of those moments where you just go, yep, you're my girlfriend. My girlfriend would say such a thing, because it's not supposed to be poo. It's obviously, but I mean, it is, the color of it would make you think that. I know as soon as I saw that, that's what I thought, and I was like, oh, it's got these spikes on it. Oh, it's a shell instead of a poo, but it's pretty funny, because it does look like a poo, doesn't it? It does. Oh, we're just like, same mind. So unfortunately, that's all I have for this month as far as pickups and stuff. I know I talked a lot about my own personal stuff. Hopefully it's interesting enough. But anyway, that's all I've got for you. Hopefully a video coming up this month. Please stay tuned, and I'll see you next month. Peace.